Good day. I'm Jennifer with SuccessStreet.net, and I'm here today with Carl Slicer of Best Hire. And he has been in the background screening industry for over 25 years. And I understand he has a background further than that, if you count in the females in his family that started this fine business. So today I have Carl Slicer, um, the co-owner of, is that correct, Carl? The co-owner of Best Hire
You betcha.
with your wife, Carol.
Right.
Good, good, good. And I'd love to, can you tell us how long have you had the current business exactly with your predecessors, as I should say, and how has it evolved over time?
So there's two businesses that I go back and forth with, one foot in one and one foot in the other. I grew up around a business, a cottage industry that goes back to 1922. My great grandmother started in East Hartford, Connecticut, and she was working with the farmers selling insurance products and doing tax preparation services. And the business launched in 1931 because she had been working with the IRS, and the IRS abruptly terminated her, and she was left taking care of her mother, two children, and had lost her husband in a car accident. So the tax business perpetuated on through my grandmother and through my mom. My mom moved to Vernon when she got married in 1955, and she started that tax business out of her house. And mom passed away in 2007, so now it's operated by my wife, who I've been married to. It'll be 35 years in October, and my sister. And then about 5 years ago, our niece came into the business, which marks five generations of women standing on their own and taking care of business and doing what's necessary to take care of their family. So that's what I grew up around with. And when you talk about strong women and women that make decisions for themselves, they operate. I've seen ladies come into the house who lost their husbands, and they didn't know how to operate the checkbook. They didn't know what the price of oil was. They didn't understand how to make the mortgage payment every month. And my mom worked with them one on one and said, "Don't worry, we'll get through it." And strong women have been an example in my life, and I grew up thinking that this was a norm. And the older I get, the more I realize that was not necessarily a norm. That there was a lot of selectivity in the fact that, you're a guy and you do these things, and you're a woman and you do these things, and these two shall not cross over. Well, business owners have a lot of similarities there, that they have to pull it together to provide for themselves so that they can survive, that they can take care of their families. They can. My kids like to eat. My wife likes to have heat in the house. And so when I started my own business in 1991, my wife said to me, "You can go do this, but you're not going to be going to work in your bathrobe. I can tell you that much." And there hasn't been one day since then that I haven't been pushing myself to go where I need to go and get the work done.
Fantastic, Carl. Yeah, you have quite a successful company, and the listeners love to hear what other companies can perhaps even really do for them too. And that's why I wanted you on this podcast, because we've known each other in as friends, as fellow dance enthusiasts, as I should say, for a while now. And I've met your fine wife at one of the the sort of ballroom dance events too, and was so impressed with her too. And I want to know about, I love a story, and I want to know about strategies that you've used to differentiate yourself from the competitors in the market.
Well, I can tell you that I interviewed with a professor from University of New York earlier this spring, and what a wonderful lady. I just love meeting people that are sharp and have uh, abilities. And I described the family business to her, and she said that number one, the type of business that we operate now is what was typical in your small towns and villages years ago, where businesses were taking care of people in those towns. And I can give you story after story after story of people that come into the house and to get their taxes done, and their life is falling apart. I remember a time where this guy was out of work and he brought vegetables to pay for his tax service that year. And my mom said, "Yeah, don't worry about it. Not a big deal, you know." And he was unemployed, and he was, embarrassed to say he didn't have any money to pay that year. And my mom was like, "It's all good. Don't worry about it. This is the way life goes, and we'll get through this together." And guess what? He's been a loyal client for many, many years thereafter. But I think when you hold yourself up to a standard that is expected of you, you do reach for improvements in your life, and you try to make yourself a better person, and you put a better product on the line. My company, Best Hire, provides background checks to employers. I'm blessed to have clients in all 50 states. We do small and medium-sized companies that need answers from us and don't always have the big lawyer staff to pay for to get those answers. And guess what? You pick up the phone, you call us, and we have live people answering the phones and walking you through and making recommendations. But the litmus test for this is I like to sleep at night. I don't like to worry about my clients. So, and I refer to them as clients specifically. They're not customers, because customers to me is basically a person I haven't met yet that is out there shopping around looking to buy something. But a client to me is someone who's been taken in under our care, custody, and control, and they're being educated in the process, whereby within 6 months or a year, they'll be pretty knowledgeable about the laws that pertain to employment, why you can do a background check, why you can use specific information in deciding that you're going to hire or not hire somebody, and not get yourself sued for every silly little thing out there. So it's kind of like a specific walk through the park on a path that you've chosen because you like that particular path, and we're going to walk you through to make sure that you understand it. And I work with people in my life that are just very concerned about the attitudes. We don't go fast. We're easy, and we deal as though there's a judge, Harold Green, that he was the gentleman that broke up AT&T because it got too big. And he wrote an opinion, said that the consumer should be treated as the least sophisticated consumer. And that means that's not derogatory. That means that not everybody knows everything out there, and you got to take yourself down a peg and make sure that you can explain things to them and make it simple so that they understand the picture in their mind. And eventually you're winning over their confidence, where they become your client, and that develops long-term relationships. We've got people in our tax business that have been with us fourth and fifth generation. and we spend very little on advertising. And as a result of that, the word of mouth is fantastic. So, Jennifer, one of the reasons why I've related well with you is because you have a lot of that kindness. You have a lot of that understanding. And I still remember the first day that I danced with you. You're like, we're going to do it this way, and I'm like, okay, let's do it that way. Like, okay, and I'm so happy that I followed through to make sure that you didn't misunderstand me in the beginning, and that we became friends thereafter. Um,
Yes, we both wanted to show each other, put our best foot forward. Let's, right? Literally and figuratively. Like I just
exactly.
was trying to follow the dance rules and I was brand new and I was like, yeah, yeah, it was so much fun. I love those early days, those first days in ballroom 3 years ago when we were taking from, the Friday night, first Friday swing in West Hartford, Connecticut Town Hall and all those other dances to follow. Hopefully we'll get back there sooner than later, Carl, right? In the meantime, I really am so impressed with your delivery of your heart because, people feel where you're coming from and what comes from the heart touches the heart, right? And so with your business, I think that you got that and you really put your customers first. And that's what we see eye to eye. I'm willing to go 150% for my clients. I work with one restaurant. They when they have a concern, they know they can even call me late at night, and I'll take care of them. Even though we have live customer service, I've backed up by 24-hour live support too, um, on the corporate end. But I take those calls, and I wanted to hear from you too. What are the different types of products and service specifically in Best Hire? I do payroll tax filing services too, but you help with discovering what is a good employee fit, and you go above and beyond in so many different levels. Can you explain that a little bit to me, Carl?
Well, you walk into a shoe store, and what is the salesperson say to you? Do you want to buy a shoe? Well, they know that you're there looking for shoes, so the idea is to teach them and give you ideas of what's available, whether it be in a fit, a style of the shoe. Maybe you're walking trails. Maybe you're out dancing, which are different type shoes, and you have a certain budget in mind that you want to accomplish that with. And so it's the same thing with background checks because not all positions have the same responsibility in a job. You can take an insurance company that's going to have a vast number of different types of positions. You can have somebody that's an account manager with client relationships. You can hire somebody that's an actuary. You can hire somebody that opens and closes the buildings at night. You can hire somebody that drives drives Jennifer, the president of the company, to and from home each day to make sure she gets here and there safely. So all of those positions have different exposures and different responsibilities. So when we interview the client, we understand their business better. Then we can figure out, say, okay, um, you're probably going to want to do a credit history on the account manager that has access to sensitive data such as credit cards and checking accounts, so forth and so on. The chauffeur who's going to drive you from point A to B, you probably want to make sure that the license is valid and that he or she doesn't have any rough history. And the actuary, you're going to want to make sure that that actuary really does have the education required to get that job done. And a lot of times our clients hire us not only to provide that type of information, but also to take it off their plate to get it done while they're focusing on more crucial parts. Employers quite often have a problem with onboarding. When the uh, trigger is pulled to hire somebody, the authorization is made, the money's been set aside for the salary. Now all of these departments check in and say, okay, this is employee benefits, this is HR, this is that one, so forth and so on. And there's a lag time. My niece got hired at a clinic that works with prostheses, people with amputations, kind of things like that. She was the perfect fit. Not only did she have the sports medicine background that they were looking for, she also had the lifetime of experience because it was my sister lost her left leg in an auto accident when she was 19 years old. So Jenna, the little girl, grew up with a mom that had an amputation and knew the struggles that the amputee went through. Perfect fit with this company. 5 weeks to hire her. After they make the job offer, it was 5 weeks before she actually walks through the door and starts working. And she's ready to work now. So what clients are really concerned about on top of this current market is, I've got a great gal who can pull the trigger and really bring it home for us. How soon can I get her on the payroll? HR says 5 weeks. The manager says not acceptable. We need to accelerate this. Um, we got contacted about a month ago by a very large world uh, market company that provides aerospace parts in the industry. They have offices in Mexico, Canada, Scotland, Europe, as well as Connecticut. And they had a problem with their background checking company. They had been waiting over a month to get this criminal record check out of New Jersey, where the person had once lived. And I knew this lady personally. She called up. She says, "Can you handle it?" I said, "Sure. Give me the information." Boom. We got it back. We turned it around completely for her in 24 hours while they were waiting for 4 weeks, 5 weeks on the other company. Somebody was not paying. She says, how can you do this? How do you have the information? I go, it's not what information that I have plugged into. It's my will to take care of you and understand what's important to you is important to us.
Love it. Actually, that's right on. I mean, that's where it's at, is listening to your clients and delivering based upon their needs and not just what you suppose fits into your, you know, business outline there. That's fantastic. You apply all your products and you set the engines to work accordingly. Um, and for the listeners out there that need to in these, you know, this COVID coronavirus time here, they're looking to work leaner and meaner. And I know that you work from the small, as you say, the mamas and papas to the Fortune 500s. Um, and I'd like you to tell the listeners what you can do for them in terms of, like, you've really brought it to my attention, the value of making sure from the get-go that you hire the right people. Now, and you do it in a factual way, right? So can you tell the audience a little bit about that? The best hire. I just even love your company name. And then what have been some of your challenges to overcoming in building the business? And I know that's a whole different question, but can you tell us a little bit about, what you do in terms of sorting out, who to hire? And how is that different than me using one of the online apps? Or, if I was a smaller HR professional, human resources manager, why I wouldn't want to use something canned that I could find online? Why would I want to hire Best Hire? and Carl Slicer and Carol?
In today's day and age, doing business is a little different than it was even as much as 5 years ago, because people are less likely to pick up the phone and actually call somebody. There, I think most businesses are getting their information either from other people they know and referrals, or maybe reviewing through LinkedIn. So we have to write articles on LinkedIn, and we have to do videos on YouTube just to make your presence known out there. But if somebody calls us up and says, um, the best client to call us is the person who's just experienced a certain amount of pain that they went through, because they're an excellent student. I mean, they're wide open, bushy tailed, ready to go and say, just show me how to do this the right thing. I went down a path, and
Yeah.
um, there's always telltale signs. Even if you, we keep a database of the last 10 years worth of news articles about embezzlement in the country, and it's widespread, it's ongoing, it's not going away, and it affects all of these people that say it's never going to affect me. And I can tell you that I used to sell insurance, property and casualty, life and health, so I have a little bit of knowledge of insurance. And your insurance agent is a fantastic person to have in your corner when you are a business owner. And I'll give you a really good reason why. Just like an attorney, the insurance agent is liable for their opinion. So if your next door neighbor says to you, "Oh, you don't need that life insurance. That's too cheap. You need to go get this other stuff," and you drop it, and God forsake, somebody drops dead, and you're going, "What did I do this for?" The neighbor's not liable for their opinion. But if you call up the insurance agent and say to them, "I'm thinking about adding a product line into my company, and I want to make sure that I'm covered for the exposures," and that insurance agent says, "Okay, you're good to go," that verbal coverage is a legal standing until the underwriters at the insurance company can actually underwrite and set the terms and the premium of the coverage. It's very, very important, because you can have a claim that completely wipes your company out of business. So you're working with professional people that know how to answer questions. Ergo, when you come to us and say, we need to hire," or how about this? In December, a restaurant in the Harford County area had some very, very serious issues going on inside the business. And there's a law firm in Hartford that recommended us, and they came on board, and we just completed a 6-month review with them. And in the last 6 months, they hired 75 employees. And of those 75 employees, 15% of them had felony convictions. Now, these are not light convictions. These are not, let's put it this way, they're not people that I would want to leave with my mother to watch them in the afternoon while I'm at work, because these felonies range anywhere from armed robbery, which was one of the waiters, and then there was a line cook that was charged with strangulation. So, um, you know, I guess sometimes we're the bearer of bad news, but the gentle approach here is that if you give us an application, we run it through, and not only do we find this crucial information, we verify that you worked with accuracy. How did you identify the person? Did they have a photo ID? Did they have a driver's license? Did they have a, a state majority ID card, some kind of a photo? Because there's a lot of people out there that will fudge their information when they identify themselves, because they know that they have bad histories that follow them. OLED is spelled one L versus two L's, one T versus two T's, and the date of birth, that kind of thing. And we get that all the time, where people are trying to get back into the workplace and it's the wrong fit. I'm not saying that felons should not work. I'm saying that it has to be upfront so that the employer has all the information to make the decision if they want that person on their payroll or not. It's just like your insurance companies. They ask you a bunch of questions about your home, and then they take a picture, and there's a hole in the roof that's 3 feet wide open. The insurance companies go, I don't think we want to insure that house because it's going to be a claim very, very soon, which is outside the norm. So working with professional people, and we're in this business since, I've been doing background checks since at least 1991. We were in place before 9/11 hit, and the terminology changed when 9/11 hit. The sales question before that was, do you do background checks? After 9/11 hit, the question became, who do you use for background checks?
Right. It's kind of like being forewarned is being forearmed. Is
Right.
that the expression, Carl? I mean, I
Yeah.
know you do so much more than that, than the just background checks, like you say. And that's what's so impressive these days. And then you could discern, if something, somebody has a very minor charge and it was expelled and it was off their record or it was a mistake, you could help a company owner with that part of it as well. Because somebody could have had a bad rap, right, Carl? That
Sun,
happens too.
Sunshine is a great, great medicine. It has vitamin D in it. And do you know that you have to go through both the liver and the kidneys for you to absorb vitamin D into into your body? Very much the same thing. So what happens is, not only do we do the criminal records, we also can verify previous employment. Were they there? The resumes that we verify with information such as work experience, education, certifications.
Mm,
Uh, um, uh, we had an applicant 3 years ago who was a very well known educator in the public community, and this gentleman had many, many years experience as a superintendent of schools. And he applied with this town to be in a finance position. And as a result of this, we found the bachelor's degree was just fine. We checked the JD, and his PhD was in place as well. But when the JD was checked, which is your Juris of Doctorate, he did not graduate like he said in the resume. So this is another one of those
yeah.
50-50 things where we take the information back to the employer and say, if this is important to you, it's important to us. If you want to hire him, at least understand this is where he's coming from. And I've had lawyers say that they would never hire this person because they just lied flat out, bragging on their resume.
Yeah.
Why did they do that? I have no idea. But, you know,
I don't
so
know
there,
about you, when I was growing up, like that was, for lack of a better expression, the cardinal sin is lying. That's one of the big things. Honesty was such a factor, part of the fabric of my early family value system. And so, yeah, that's huge. And then, like you said, it's factual. It's reported, and then they can make their own decision accordingly. And you're going to paint the picture, create the profile, and just the facts, right? Sometimes just the facts, man, and here they are.
sure.
So it's an intelligent way to run a company. And we need professionals, we need partners, company owners, small and large. We need people, owners of companies like Best Hire, who have got your back, literally, on who are the people that you're entrusting with your company. It almost doesn't get any bigger than that, except for who you marry and what car you drive. I mean, no, I'm just being facetious, but it's so important, right? It's so important. So that's why I was impressed with your company is the longevity, the depth and breadth, and the values that you bring to the business world and how you apply that to for the business owners. Nothing is more important than seeing business owners thrive these days. And you got it. You got it. So um, there's so much more I want to learn from you, and I'm wondering, could I have you on again sometime in the future? And would that be possible too, Carl?
Oh,
Or
absolutely.
Carol? Okay.
And I'll tell you why, because there isn't a week that doesn't go by that there's another one of these. Holy cow, I can't believe we just missed this person. What did they do? What happened
Yep.
here?
Right.
I can give you a good example of why pixels in a camera over the years has been so important to the marketing out there. Whereas, uh, 10 years ago, if you had a 3 megapixel camera, it was the hottest thing. And then they went to 9 megapixel, and then they went to 12 megapixel. Well, basically, for those people that don't know what a pixel is, little tiny points, digital dots on a picture that help make up clarity. And that's why you have a difference between a standard definition television and a high definition. The high definition looks much clearer, much closer, much understandable. So we paint pictures for the employers so
Right.
that they can make the decision of who they want uh, as an employee and who they want to deal with. And I'll give you an example. We have certain prejudices right off the bat that can cause us to slow down or curb our decisions. Here's a great example I use all the time. I'm going to convince you, Jennifer, to hire a person that has a DWI in their history as opposed to a person that does not and has just some speeding tickets. Okay, so here's the picture. The first guy is 35 years old, and when he was in college, he got a DWI one night when he was out with his buddies, and he made the bad mistake of driving when he shouldn't have. Fast forward 17 years later, he's married, he's got a wife, he's got 2 kids, he's got a fantastic job, and he certainly put this issue behind him from his past. On the other hand, Jennifer, you've got all of these trucks out in the parking lot, and these are beautiful blue and green service vehicles for your company, and you've got close to $100,000 in each one of these vehicles, and you go out every day and you shred materials for hospitals and doctors' offices and so on, so that you can keep up on the privacy issues of shredding. So you hire this 20-year-old kid, and he has 3 speeding tickets in the last 18 months, and you're saying to yourself, number one, how can you have 3 speeding tickets in 18 months? Is this kid not learning anything? And then you look at the fines, it's like 150 here, $200 there. How does he afford 500 bucks? So now you tell me, do you want that 18-year-old kid, that 20-year-old kid driving a $100,000 vehicle around? Or would you consider this 35-year-old being the manager of your fleet service now that he has proven himself over time? Which one do you think you would pick from now?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Not the guy that's speeding and can't figure out how to correct that lesson that he should have learned a long time ago with speeding. That's it. I mean, this country is so forgivable, but you can really put it in perspective for the decision maker of the company, whether that be the entrepreneur the HR department, the CEO, whoever that individual is, and you can give them those facts from something that happened 10, 20, 30 years ago, or just those repeatable actions of speeding up to date, more recent information, and put it in perspective for them. And, we can't be everything to everybody in our company. And we need people like you, Carl, that are going to do the good, the deep dive into how to hire. And this is going to affect the company for years to come. It can make or break a company.
Right.
And that maybe will feed the next conversation. And in this day and age, we're working with a lot of companies that are actually thriving in these times, and then the others that, maybe they're just getting back and they need you. They need to rebuild their business. They're finally opening up again. So we're gonna have to talk about another time to have you on, and I want to have listeners learn how they can learn more about you and your business. Do they go to besthire.com?
That's one of the choices. We can email, we can telephone. Smoke signals is something that we used to do, but that doesn't seem to be very popular
No, no, right, exactly. And,
anymore.
and so would you give listeners just one piece of advice to help them scale their business, if you could, and what would that be?
How to scale their business. Well, that's interesting because I love mentoring people that want to go into business. I'm a, I'm a big proponent for kids setting up lemonade stands and selling the lemonade or the tomatoes or whatever it is. But when it comes to accelerating your business, I think that you have to go back and make sure that your products that you're offering are sharp, but at the same time, uh, a business consultant that I follow, Alan Weiss, he's got a couple of sayings that I love. Number one is, I've never realized how dumb I am from 2 weeks ago. Meaning I'm so much smarter than I was 2 weeks ago. And the other thing that he says is that 50% of the products that he offers today, he was not offering 3 years ago. So we have to self-examine ourselves, and sometimes that means we have to take the hard line and ask others, do you like what we're doing? Are we on track? Is there anything that we can improve upon? And that is what you call putting yourself outside the box, where you're pushing yourself. Toastmasters teaches you to learn better how to speak. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions and make yourself stretch. So you have to do that for the client. You have to stretch for the client and make sure that, yeah, okay, geez, I missed that product line, and I probably should have brought that in a lot sooner. So I think you have to stay in check with your clients. Very important.
Yes, and self-examine, analyze where your company is going, right, and make those difficult choices. I get it. It has been wonderful to have you on this podcast today. Carl Slicer of Best Hire, I really appreciate you, and let's get a part two on this podcast sometime in the future.
That sounds great. And Jennifer, you're wonderful at asking good questions. And not only do you ask good questions, you also allow the timing for the response and let people like me run on and on and on. But it allows information out there that is worthy, especially when you're taking up the time, people listening to your podcast, you need to give them a quality product that not only will help their business and their lives today, but they like to refer to their friends and say, "Hey, you got to listen to this gal on the radio. She's really on the mark there. She's got the stuff." And course, you have the good answers too when it comes to what every business owner needs with your payroll services and your other financial services as well too. So
Yeah.
thank you for having us today. Appreciate it.
Oh, you got it. Okay, we'll talk again soon, I'm sure. We'll have you on again. And
Well,
enjoy your day. Thank
I'm,
you so much.
we'll be talking to you soon, and hopefully we can start dancing even sooner.
Yeah, I'm missing the ballroom
Yeah.
tremendously. Take care.
You have a good day, Jed. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.